You know what was my favorite thing to watch this past Sunday? The Saints loss.
Oh, yes.
Beautiful. Seeing them like thrilled. The Saints, got that touchdown. And I just saw on their face this elation and this joy. And when they were crushed again and their dejected faces was the highlight of my afternoon.
The 5 things you hate most about the Saints.
Players, coaches, fans, city, everything.
Welcome back to another episode of The Expert Take, where we talk all that is the NFL, but mainly the unbelievably beautiful green and gold.
Almost losing to the Redskins green and gold and the clearly dominant honor roll Minnesota Vikings heading for number 2.
Wrong. We are one step closer to the playoffs. We are like 3 steps away from the playoffs.
There are only a few games left.
I know, but both of our teams won this past weekend.
They did.
And the Vikings.
One was a little more convincing than the other.
Okay. The Vikings played the Lions, divisional game.
Handled them easily from the start. It was actually a rather boring game. There's not really that much to talk about because the Lions are terrible.
Daniil Hunter's playing good. Xavier Rhodes is horrible.
He was benched, man. He didn't even start. The media's got to make a bigger story out of everything. Every other shot was just Xavier Rhodes sitting there
That was the topic of the group text thread that I have between me and all my football buddies, and has been for weeks. They just highlight when Xavier Rhodes screws up, and they're all terrible. Vikings fans. My brother said, well, the road is wide open. It is wide open. It used to be roads closed, but now it is 8 lanes wide.
The construction's been completed. It is a Chinese freeway.
So the Vikings,
Vikings win.
They get a divisional win.
They did what they had to do, and that's pretty much all there is to say about it.
Well, that's kind of the same story with the Packers game, doing what you have to do.
You almost let Dwayne Haskins come in and hand you an L.
Well, for the first half, the Packers, they looked like they were handling business.
Yes.
And the final score ends up being 20-15. And yes, it's annoying as a Packers fan to see you beat the Redskins, but barely. But here's the thing. There's a lot of Packer fans complaining about it, and this is what Aaron Rodgers had to say. There's a lot of fans saying that we're winning pretty ugly. It's fine by me. I'd win ugly all the way to the Super Bowl, because a win is a win.
Seems like an Aaron Rodgers thing to say.
The way our records shake out right now is you need the Packers to drop a game.
We do. Yeah, definitely. The NFC is getting crazy right now.
They are. You talked about it earlier. The Saints losing to the 49ers. I
was glorious.
am also thrilled about that because the Saints losing shot the Packers right into the 2 seed.
Back to number 2.
So if the Packers can win out.
Which they won't.
So when the Packers win out.
Which they won't.
So when the Packers get 3 more W's.
Okay. No. Dang it.
They will get a first round bye. We've talked about before my hopes. The Vikings end in the 6th seed. Packers end in the 2. The stars align. We play each other to go to the Super Bowl.
Oh, boy.
I want us to play each other to go to the Super Bowl.
Oh, my gosh. And again, that would be the Super Bowl.
Because when the Packers win that game, my bragging rights are set for life.
Wow.
So anyway, other things going on in the league. The Patriots lost their 2nd straight game in a row. And now they're cheaters again because they're videotaping the Bengals sideline and they're playing the Bengals. Bill Belichick's just like, I get my video camera ready. We're on to Cincinnati.
It's nothing about the past, nothing about the future. It's right now we're preparing for Cincinnati.
But I'm not convinced it's Stairway to 7 anymore.
No, because Lamar Jackson is breaking everybody's ankles.
Yeah. That one play where the dude literally fell on his face.
You see his legs, he's like it just falls over on the ground. The Ravens are most likely they're gonna come out top dog.
Well, like I told you, it's gonna be a purple on purple Super Bowl.
That's wishful thinking.
The Saints fall, the Bears win, and the Rams beat the Seahawks.
Speaking of the Rams, that is the one team both of us need to be worried about. The Rams could sneak up.
It's too close.
They could kick one of us out of the playoffs.
Yeah.
Right now, we think one of us is winning the division, one of us is getting a wild card. But the Rams, if they keep winning, they could ruin it for one of us.
God dang it.
The most frustrating thing happening right now has to be the NFC East.
Yep.
For those of you that don't know, every division winner gets an automatic playoff spot. And the NFC East is so bad. The Cowboys are currently leading their division with a losing record. They are 6-7, and they are holding a playoff spot right now.
That means that either one of our teams, Vikings, Packers, or Rams, Bears, kind of all in that mix right now, are going to all have potentially 10 wins or more.
Double-digit wins.
Double-digit wins, and will be out of the playoffs.
One of us could have...
Two of those teams will be out of the playoffs because of the losing record NFC East. Roger. Get your act together.
And the Eagles, they're like, we're right in there for a playoff spot, boys, and we got 5 wins.
They could make it.
That's so bad. One team could literally finish with 11 or more wins and not make the playoffs. But the losing record NFC dumpster fire division is going to get a playoff spot.
It's a messed up
and
system.
A home game.
Yeah, and not just a home game playoff.
If there is a silver lining in this, it's that if one of us ends up with a wild card spot, hopefully it's the 5 seed, because then we're playing the NFC East first round in the playoffs.
Which would be basically like a bye week.
As we step closer to the playoffs, I thought we should take a look. As we get closer, people's superstitions start to ramp up in regards to their team. Do you have any game day rituals or superstitions that you live by for your team?
Definitely. But they are not superstitions because they work.
That's the danger. If it works once, then you have to do it forever.
These are real things. I have a connection with the Vikings team.
Okay.
Somehow, I have to wear one of my jerseys with one of my hats. I have to be drinking a pop, most likely a purple pop.
Okay.
And then depending on, I watched the game one of 2 places. Depending on where those places are, there are also other sub-rituals. Like certain snacks that have to be out and places we sit on the furniture and layouts. But I will tell you, rewind your brain back to the Broncos-Vikings game.
Yep.
We were watching that at my house.
Okay.
I was not drinking my pop. I did not have my jersey on. A minute before halftime, I'm pulling my hair out, about ready to shut the game off. And I suddenly remember, oh my gosh, what's going on? I run downstairs, change, get the chips and the queso and salsa, mix it together in the microwave. The game's on pause on DVR, sit back down. Within 10 seconds, interception, and then obviously the whole second half of the game. So,
see, that's the worst part is with these game day rituals and superstitions. If it goes right one time, you are a prisoner for life to that. You are a prisoner. I used to be terrible with them for the Packers. One day I had to get rid of them because I said, this is ridiculous. I do not have a telepathy connection with the Green Bay Packers. They are going to win or lose if they win or lose. And I can't OCD sit in the bathroom and say, I got to flip the switch 5 times so the Packers get their 5th Super Bowl this year.
Did you give that up around 2014?
We don't talk about that.
This season that shall not be mentioned.
No kidding. What happened? Why weren't you drinking your purple pop and eating your queso and wearing your hat and jersey when the Vikings played the Eagles in the NFC Championship game? Vikings fans, you have him to blame.
Listen.
You have him to blame.
No. We have Roger Goodell to blame because that game was rigged.
Oh my gosh.
That game was rigged. There was no way they were going to let a home team play in their stadium for the Super Bowl. They had to pay him off or something. That game was rigged.
I hope that this year we have the most epic NFC Championship game. If the Packers and the Vikings play in the NFC Championship game, this show is going to be interesting.
The week leading up to it and the week after, one of us will not be here.
One of us will actively hide from the other person. Hopefully the stars align. We're getting... I mean, you can taste the playoffs. They are so close. Hopefully one of us does not get sneak attacked by the Los Angeles Rams. That would be terrible.
Don't.
Don't.
Please.
Please don't. We will be back next week. Hopefully both of our teams
into Vikings Packers round 2.
We will have a lot to talk about next week as we are one step closer to another border battle between the Vikings and Packers. Leave us a comment, a like, subscribe to our channel. Let us know what you think is going to happen with the playoff picture as we are only 3 weeks out.
That sounded Star Wars-ish.
That sounded like dun, 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 dun. 3, 2, 1. Okay.
Skull Vikings.
Go back up.